Minister Puri, thank you so much for joining us at the OPEC seminar. We really appreciate your time. I want to start off with something that you mentioned on stage, which was regards to India's demand this year. There's been a lot of concern about demand looking at 2025, 2026. I want you to tell everyone, what does demand look like in India when we're talking about oil?
Yeah, I'm glad that you're talking about the Indian demand story, because that's something I'm more familiar with. And when it comes to regional and global demand, I'm less sure of the ground I am covering. Insofar as India is concerned, there are a few givens. Ours is really a sui generis situation. We have every day 6.7 million of our citizens going to retail dispensing outlets. Our daily consumption of crude oil is about 5.6 million barrels a day. If you look at the assessments given by the International Energy Agency based in Paris, which says that in the next 2 decades, next 20 years, 25% of the global increase in demand will come from India. If you look at the OPEC's assessment, which is also relevant because that's where we are, they say that by 2045, that is 20 years from now, India will be consuming 11 million barrels a day. Now, even the 5.6 million barrels is a lot of energy, crude oil. But we have another dimension. We are also, if you look at liquefied petroleum gas, which is the product of a refinery, we are now supplying gas connections to 330 million households. So if every household has 4 people in it, we've got a saturation point of reaching our 1.4 billion people. 10 crores, of which is 100 billion of them, receive a preferential, cheaper supply because they are members of an economically weaker sections of society. Nowhere in the world is clean cooking gas supplied for as little as 8 cents in a day to a family of 4, or to non-beneficiaries at 16 cents.
Subsidized, basically.
Well, it is, yes, subsidized only up to a point. Today, by and large, I think India has been able to supply energy to its citizens at amongst the lowest rates in the world.
Would that change, Your Excellency? Is there reform going on internally?
No, reform is going on, but I think the developmental challenges are being what we are. We are now the 4th largest economy in the world. We are likely to be the 3rd largest before long. All the countries with which we are in consideration, they're all growing between 0 and 2%. We're growing at 6.5%. So it's only a matter of time, according to the Monetary Fund or the World Bank, that India will be the 3rd largest economy, overtaking Germany. What will not change is the extent and the dynamism of that demand. What will change is that the energy mix going to the people, and this is where we have a good story. We're doing 20% biofuel blending. The base fuel which we sell at the retail outlets is now mixed ethanol, 20% of the base fuel. We're thinking of increasing that percentage. Our compressed biogas is beginning to do well. Green hydrogen is a great story in India. And one of our companies, IOCL, has floated a tender for one of their refineries. I see more and more tenders coming up.
And the affordability of that?
Affordability is the good story because if you compare prices with the countries in our neighborhood, it's a very good story. If you compare even with Western Europe and the United States. But you know, the interesting thing is you are making a comparison between a country which is 85% dependent on crude oil on imports, and yet our prices are comparable to those who are, less dependent on imports, who have their own energy. How much of a subsidy will be given? That I think is a political call which will be done. Recently, we raised the price of a cylinder by 50 rupees. Initially, people thought it would get very upset, but you know, if you're supplying clean cooking gas at 8 cents per family per day, I think people take it in their stride. But the crucial test which we have so far navigated is that the trilemma of availability, there's never been any shortage, affordability, which is apparent, We've reduced the central government's excise duty on 2 occasions, in November 2021 and May 2022, and once a little later, March, I think, of 2024. And that brought the price of petrol and diesel down by 13 rupees and 16 rupees, respectively. Going forward, I see much more emphasis on local E&P, exploration and production. I think a lot of work is being done. One of our companies, ONGC, dug 500 wells last year, many offshore. It's expensive, but there's reasonable expectation from the evidence available that big finds could be on the horizon. And on top of that, the transition to sustainability, which is the third part of the trilemma, that is doing very well. I mentioned biofuels. I mentioned CBG to you, but I should also mention the green hydrogen story. Why do I say green hydrogen, India will be a leader? Not only because we have electrolyzer, we have a government scheme for subsidizing electrolyzer production, etc., and all major electrolyzer producers are there. But we've already demonstrated that the cost of clean solar energy can come down, and we've already brought it down appreciably from 25 cents a unit to about 3 cents. And I think if you have clean solar energy, reasonably priced, and an electrolyzer, then you're on the way to green hydrogen.
No, absolutely. And you've touched something important, Your Excellency. It's energy security. If you want to guarantee that you're growing at this very high rate, you need to guarantee that, you have energy security. And part of that, or still, India is dependent on imports that are coming out of the Middle East. We all saw that, the conflict that erupted between Israel and Iran, and the possible threats of Hormuz and so on. I just wanted to ask, in terms of storage, is India looking to build more storage facilities?
Let me first of all go back for a minute on the sustainability and
Sure.
Look, sustainability should not, and at least in India's case, the transition to green energy is not being held back. We are one of the few countries in the world which has met its Paris commitments, number one. Number two, we believe that you can do all the rest that you're doing and at the same time also ensure that your energy transition is taking place well. Insofar as storage is concerned, you have international norms on how much you should have in a strategic reserve. Well, we are, I think, if you take the Indian way of counting, you add what is on platforms available on your docks, what's available in your refineries, you have something like 77 days worth. You want to take it to 90 days, which should be the norm. I know a lot of countries today, there's talk that they're building bigger and bigger storage capacity. Whether that is desirable or why that is being done, I don't want to get into that debate yet.
Sure.
But I think we have enough refining capacity. We're at 320 million metric tons per annum. Much of it will be diverted to petchem as we go along, because our petchem, as a country which is industrializing very fast, growing at 6.5%, you will need more petchem. Overall, I think decisions on how much to store. We have a strategic petroleum reserve. We use 50% for commercial operations and then fill it up again. But I think just now, I think we are more comfortable with, and I don't see any reason to revise it, than to go by the international norms and to ensure that we are moving in the direction of those international norms.
My
90 days.
Question is with regards to the challenges facing the energy sector, particularly, let's just focus on India here. What is troubling to you? What do you see as the major challenge or opportunity that India? You mentioned that you're taking a very pragmatic approach. You're investing in upstream, but at the same time you're moving ahead with the transition. But what concerns you? Let's just say in the short term.
Well, look, energy security is a term which is widely used. Very often, it means different things to different people. But when you deal with issues of energy security in a country where you have a democratically elected government and a prime minister who's been re-elected and is serving his third term, and you have 1.4 billion population, and you still have development challenges, energy security for us is to also be able to ensure that that energy is not only available, but available at affordable prices. Which means You mentioned the Middle East. I choose to answer it now. You know, there was a time when we were consuming 5 million barrels a day, and 800,000 barrels or 1 million barrels was coming from 2 or 3 countries in the Middle East. It has geographical proximity. But Amena, what has happened overall, at least even in the 4 years that I've been on this job, associated with this portfolio, is that earlier we were buying from 27 countries. Today we are buying from 40 countries. Diversified. And you know, let me give you by way of an example, which will, I think, serve to illustrate the point. We bought 2 cargoes from Argentina. Now you might ask, why are you buying from a country which is geographically not proximate? We've been buying from Brazil for a long time. We've been also selling petroleum products and diesel back to Brazil. So the international trade in energy, I think last few weeks, yes, there were worrying moments. People thought that because of escalating tensions, you mentioned, you know, Iran and Israel, that the Straits of Hormuz would close down. Pragmatic people would say, well, we've been around long enough, it hasn't closed down. But you don't take these things lightly.
Of course.
And you prepare contingency plans, you prepare on whether or not the Straits of Hormuz will close down. If so, for how long? Yes, we did exercises. We checked with our oil companies how many days stock you have. On most of them said we have 3 weeks, somebody had 25 days. And then we said, all right. So that also answers your question on storage. So, you know, if you had limitless resources, that is, you had no worry, then you could say we want a 10x into storage. But you know, storage, you import energy, you consume it, there is a cost of you know, importation, there is a cost of refinement, and there's a cost of storage. So I think there is no one size fits all. But in India, we look at this energy security with a very comfortable zone for storage as well. And I think we are okay.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.